The Call continues from generation to generation with Don Gessner from Gessner Ministries, a podcast dedicated to exploring the uniqueness of a person's call to ministry.
Well, it's really great to see you, Tracy Gorman. It has been a long time.
It has been way too long. And when we first reconnected on the phone, I thought about how long it has been, and it kind of made me feel bad because I've always enjoyed our talks and our visits together, and we probably need to make sure it doesn't go this long again.
No kidding. That's for sure. I remember, I think the first time that I met you was when we had moved to Salem, Illinois, back around 1990. And I don't know how much after that it was, but that's where I first met you, at the Salem Grace Church of the Nazarene there, I think.
It was. I had been invited to come down by Pastor Mike Ice to be the youth evangelist for a youth revival, which, by the way, was a time that I have never forgotten. It was those were some great days that we had together, and you and Cheryl were the music evangelists, and we had a wonderful time. And I think we might have done that 2 different times.
Yeah, it seemed like that was not the only time, but yeah, that was great. And I was excited when I made contact with you the other day, and you had this time available to just share your story about your call. The podcast is dedicated to the call, and so I was very interested in knowing more about your personal story in that regard. So would you take some time here and just share that?
Absolutely. And honestly, this is a story that I've been able to tell at a lot of places across the country and talks that I've given. And, it goes back to when I was 15 years old. I grew up in Newcastle, Indiana. Grew up in a Baptist church. And the youth pastor that we had used to allow those of us that, he called his preacher boys, he would allow us to have an opportunity to speak to the congregation and to preach a sermon. And I remember he invited me to preach. It was on a Sunday night. And see, up until that point, honestly, Don, I didn't want to have anything to do with being a pastor, because that's what my older brother was going to be. And I wanted to be anything except that because of that reason. Yeah. And so that evening he invited me to speak, and I invited actually my family to come, and most everyone in my family went to church regularly except for my dad. And my dad, he struggled with alcohol, and he had just a lot of issues in his life. And I was really happy when he said that he would come that night. So he came to the service, and I preached. I preached my message, and I don't know, it might have been 10 minutes long. And in fact, I remember recounting that to my wife years later, and she said, "Well, those 10-minute days are certainly gone." But anyhow, he was there. My family was there. I preached the sermon, and I went back over and I stood next to the pastor, and the youth pastor went up and did the invitation. And I remember looking up during the invitation, and my family was gone. And I thought to myself, was it that bad that they took off? But Don, the thing that I think probably one of the points in my life that changed my life so much is I looked down at the altar, and my dad was there, and that night he accepted Christ into his life.
Oh my!
And my whole family was down with him and was praying with him. And he walked out of there, and he took cigarettes out of his pocket, threw them in the trash. He said, "I will not need these anymore." Never drank a drop of alcohol again till the day he died. Going into that evening, he and my mom were having some major marriage difficulties, and our family was on the verge of just a total collapse. And from that point until the day that he took his last breath, he loved my mom like his princess. And
Wow.
everything in my family changed that night. And it wasn't because of me. It was so exciting that the Lord was there. And I think at that moment I knew that what God could do for my dad, he could do for anyone. And I just wanted to be a part of that in whatever way that was going to be possible. And that was the beginning of the call of God on my life. And then, fast forward through the years of pastoral ministry up until when I came here to the Evansville Rescue Mission. Once again, that evening was projected in my mind when I knew what God could do for my dad, he could do for anyone. He could do for the residents that we have at the mission. He could change their life so dramatically, and I just wanted to be a part of that.
Oh my, Tracy, I'm almost without words because of all the people that I have interviewed. I dare say that the impact of what you told there about your own family, what more of a confirmation than that? That is so amazing to me how God just did such a transformational thing in the life of your dad.
He really did, and it was so profound. The night before my dad passed away, he was in a nursing home, and he wanted our family's pastor to come to the nursing home, and he wanted him to talk to my dad's roommate. My dad said, my roommate needs Jesus, and the roommate accepted Christ that night into his life, and that was the night before, and that was just the transformation, and it just goes to show you that what the Lord does, he does well. And I mean, my dad was all in. He really was. He was all in from that moment that he accepted Jesus until he went to heaven. He was all in, and it just shows you how important it is. I guess to follow the leadership of the Lord in your life.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was just thinking, if you had not been obedient, what might have occurred in your own family there? It may be a very different story.
Sure,
but
and I think it would have been.
Yeah, that is powerful. Well, Tracy, I always like to ask myself anyway when I'm contemplating anything, what's the why? And so let me ask you that, because in the Bible there is a scripture that talks about the call.
Sure.
And what would you say the why is to the call?
Well, I think for me, the why became so crystal clear because it was so personal, and I knew I saw it. I had a front row seat to the transforming power of Jesus Christ. And I dabbled a little bit. You may not even know this part of my life, but I dabbled a little tiny bit with politics, and I thought that might be the path that I took. And this was after that evening. But the thing is, for me, I had a front row seat to the Lord's transforming power, and I just wanted to be a part of that. And I didn't know exactly what that was going to mean. I didn't know, that I would be a youth pastor, a senior pastor, or the leader of a rescue mission. But I just knew that I wanted to be wherever Jesus was, and I wanted to be doing what he wanted me to do. And so for me, that call was so personal because I saw it have such a profound impact on my family. And up until that night that I spoke of when my dad came to church, I remember walking by my mom's bedroom, and she would be on her knees praying, calling out to Jesus to save my dad.
Yeah.
And I saw that, and I think I knew that the Lord could do that, but I was so surprised when he did. I think that night that it was such a powerful moment. And then after that, I just wanted to do what he wanted for my life, and I wanted to be used.
Yeah,
And so I think that's such a big part of it, is just such a willingness to listen to the voice of God and say, I really want to be where you're at. I want to do what you want me to do. I want you to call the shots. And what a great journey it's been all these years. I'm so glad to have been on that journey with Jesus.
Oh yeah, it is indeed a wonderful journey. But you also make me think about the fact that even though we're on this journey, and it's a beautiful journey indeed, it doesn't mean that we don't have tough times that we encounter. And I would like to ask you this: when you do face those tough times, do you think that the call that you had, does it provide resolve for you in those times? It seems it seems like that would be the case.
It is, and I think not just that defining moment that I spoke of earlier, but then other times throughout my ministry career, my family, being able to look back on those moments and remembering the Lord was there. Mm-hmm. Yes, when you feel like those moments when you think, am I being effective still? Yeah. Does my ministry still matter? And you look back and you think about how the Lord has used you through the years and his faithfulness. Mm-hmm. Man, that just gives you enough gas to get home on sometimes when you feel dry and empty. And just remembering those moments that the Lord, he used you and he was there and he made things happen that you never could have done yourself, no matter how hard you tried. I think those are powerful moments, Don, in our lives that I remember them so fondly, and I'm so grateful for them because they really do give you exactly what you need.
Oh yeah, man. Having this dialogue with you is just bringing back the warmth that I remember when we got to be together in those meetings, and I'm so grateful that you were able to take the time today. Let me ask you one other question, though,
sure,
before we stop this conversation. I've had a beautiful response to the podcasts over these several months now, and I'm grateful for that. But I want it to be that it serves a purpose. And I do believe that there are those who watch from time to time and they feel inspired that, this is really what God is asking me to do, or I'm not quite there yet. So someone who might be watching that is uncertain what it is, what would you say to them in the way of, just giving them some advice about their call?
I remember one of my teenagers who was in my youth group in Decatur, Illinois, long time ago. I remember him coming to me and he said, Pastor Tracy, and he said, I really believe that God is calling me to the ministry. What advice do you have for me? And I said, if you can run as fast as you can. And he kind of looked at me and I smiled and I said, because if you can run away from it, it's not from the Lord. I said, but if it's with you and it sticks with you and that's what you think about and that is what is on your heart and you just feel a drive and a passion and it's like there's nothing else that I can do or want to do, then you go all the way with Jesus and you do exactly what it is that you feel God is calling you to do. And you know what? He went on to have such a wonderful career as a youth pastor and then as a pastor. And I'm so grateful that he listened to that advice. And that's what I would say to anyone.
Yeah.
If it's not from the Lord, you don't want to do it because it's not easy. And there are tough moments and not everybody is going to be your biggest fan at times.
No.
But if it's something that's from the Lord, you won't be able to get away from it, and you shouldn't even try, because I can promise you, it is the best. It's the best occupation. It's the best. It's the best life that you can live when you know that you are living your life with the purpose for how the Lord made you and what he called you to be, and the provisions that he's made in your life. Just go do it and follow Jesus.
Yeah, what a dichotomy it seems like. You're saying run away, because what you'll discover is you can't run away from that if it's really
not if it's
God.
real.
Yeah.
Not if it's real. If you can't be a mama called pastor, you can't be a pastor called pastor. You got to be a God called pastor. You got to be a God called leader.
Yeah.
You've got to be a God called minister. And if the Lord calls you, he'll equip you. And it's not something you can easily get away from. And I wouldn't recommend trying it.
No, absolutely not. Well, Tracy, how long have you been at the Evansville Rescue Mission?
I'm in my 18th year. And, prior to that, I was a pastor in the Church of the Nazarene. And oh my goodness, I loved those moments. And
Sure.
I would not trade those years for anything. But I tell you, these last 18 years, being the seventh leader of this organization in 109 years.
Oh, wow.
It's been such a wonderful opportunity to serve the Lord in such a great place of ministry. And I love it. We get to see the Lord do incredible things in people's lives every single day. And
wow.
But you don't have to be the president and CEO of an organization. You can be someone who volunteers or spends a little bit of time just giving of yourself, and what a reward that is in your life. You'll get more out of it than the person that you're serving, I promise.
Oh, I can only believe that to be so. Yeah.
So
tell me, before we sign off, a little bit about your family, because it's been a lot of years, and what you have grandkids, what's going on in your life?
I do. So I have my wife and I, Tammy. We've been married for 35 years, and we have two sons. Seth is a police officer here in Evansville, is on the SWAT team. Kyle, he works here in the organization that I'm a part of, and he is in charge of our fundraising and development advancement department. And then Seth is married to Taylor, and Taylor actually also works for the Evansville Rescue Mission, is in charge of our HR department. And then Kyle's wife, Ashley, she's a nurse like my wife, and they both work in the same hospital. And then 2.5 years ago, we were so blessed for Amelia, our granddaughter, to arrive into our family. And how that has just changed so many aspects of our life. And somebody told me one time, they said, if I would have known how great grandkids were, I would have started with them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just such a dynamic. In fact, today's her first day of preschool, and I've been getting pictures this morning from that. I'm just so blessed. The Lord has allowed me to have such a beautiful family and a wonderful ministry. And if I just spend the rest of my days being grateful for all God's done. I'm just the most blessed guy in the world.
Well, while I was listening to you today, it brought back the memories of when you would be speaking in that revival meeting back there at Salem, and it just helps me recall how much I really did enjoy you. You have been effective over these years, Tracy, and God has certainly used you. And I am so grateful that our paths crossed. And more than that, I'm just grateful for your obedience to God that has impacted so many. We'll only know when we meet Christ. But nevertheless, what a wonderful time that you've given to me to share today.
Well, I appreciate that, and I loved our times that we shared together, and I just remember them with such fondness.
Yeah.
A lot of times I don't remember what I had for dinner the day before, but I remember those moments, Don.
Yeah.
And I remember our times together with your family, and
Yeah.
I loved them. But I also love your podcast. I was watching your interview with Kevin Donahoe the other day, our mutual friend, someone that I greatly love and respect. And I appreciate you doing these podcasts, because there are going to be a lot of individuals who watch these, and they're going to be really encouraged by them. So thank you for doing that. I think it's such an important part of your ministry at this point of your life. And so thank you for that. It's a blessing to me.
Well, thanks so much, Tracy, for sharing those thoughts. And God bless you, and hope you have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, you too, my friend. Thank you. God bless you.
I hope the stories of the call to ministry will inspire you. Please take a moment to like and hit the share button as we prepare for the next episode.